hand. He looked like a drunk old fool. And I knew if I hit him right, why I could knock him off of that stool.
The storm is getting stronger as he climbed inside my truck. I'm headed back to Carolina. God's will and any luck. He told me how he'd left his family so many years ago, and he'd seen the whole world on the shoulders, and now it's time to go back home. And he said this road leads on forever. I've been traveling all my life, and I've seen the rain, I've felt the thunder, but it never changed my mind. I'm going back to the state line, and then I thought about my life, everything I left behind me, with 2 children and my wife. I left them waiting for a phone call. That was 20 days ago, and now I'm in for the long haul, and then it's time to go back home, and this damn road keeps getting longer. I've been traveling it some time, and I've seen the rain, I felt the thunder. Oh, never changed my mind. I'm going back to Carolina. Oh, Lord, I'm going back to damn, about to run out of gas. Jogging.
straight off of the farm. I had a picture of another man's wife tattooed on my arm, with a pack of Camel cigarettes in the sleeve of my t-shirt. And heading out to Hollywood just to have my feelings hurt. Crazy, just give it a little time. You'll be walking around in circles down Hollywood and Vine. You'll be waiting on a phone call at the wrong end of a broom. Yes, that pan'll make you crazy, and crazy as a loon. So I headed down to Nashville to become a country star. Every night they'd find me hanging at every honky-tonkin' bar. Pretty soon I met a woman. Pretty soon she done me wrong. Pretty soon my life got sadder than any country song. That town will make you crazy. Just give it a little time. You're walking around in circles, looking for that country ride. You'll be waiting on that phone call at the wrong end of a broom. Yeah, that town will make you crazy, crazy as a loon. So I gathered up my savvy, bought myself a business suit. I headed up to New York City, where a man can make some loot. I got hired Monday morning, downsized that afternoon. Overcome with grief that evening. So I'm up here in the north lake, wondering just exactly how much they think a man can take. I eat fish to pass the time away beneath this blue Canadian moon. This whole world has made me crazy, hey, crazy as a loon. Lord, this world will make you crazy, crazy as a loon. Got harder than hard. We were just trying to make a living in our backyard. We were born too late, not too soon. Anxiety's a terrible thing. If you ain't coming, don't come at all, 'cause it's a crooked, easy game. crooked piece of time that we live in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. So I'm going to your dad's, right?
Yesterday morning, and you went pain.
Knew your picture,
By the picture frame, sun moved candlelight underneath the flame. Yesterday morning, you went pain.
Okay, baby.
It's a crooked piece of time that we're living. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time.
Piece of time.
Things got rough, things got tough, things got hotter than hot. We were just trying to make a living in our backyard.
I love you, baby.
We were born too late, yeah, too soon. Anxiety's a terrible crime. You can't go down, don't come at all, but it's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time that we're living in. All in all, and all in all, it's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time. It's a crooked piece of time.
Time flies by in the blink of an eye when you get paid for having too much fun. Kicking out the footlights, living the nightlife like tomorrow ain't never gonna come. It wouldn't change nothing, nothing about this road we've been running, full of wild times, wine, women, and a song. We'd have taken much better care of ourselves if we'd have known he's gonna live this long.
Whiskey goes down like cold spring water
Over rocks at the close of the day.
when you're flying like eagles down American highways.
You lose a lot of friends along the way,
But we just keep on moving
and rolling along. Can't look back, we might turn to stone, but we'd have taken much better care of ourselves if we'd have known we's gonna live this long. If we'd known we're gonna live this long, we might have changed things up a bit. We still would have lived out every song, just maybe not quite as fast as we did. Well, we're in pretty good shape, Will, for the shape we're in. We'll keep rocking along till we're gone. We'd have taken much better care of ourselves if we'd have known we's gonna live this long. Yeah, we would have taken much better care of ourselves if we'd have known we was gonna live this long. Lockup, write a song, I'm out of jail. And if you set your boat on fire in the middle of a gale, if you lose your only lover, go find something sweet and soft and laugh it off. Laugh it off. If the joke about the police don't go over with a bang, if you tell them you're a singer, they don't like the way you sing, then get yourself an attorney, go out, play some golf, and laugh it off. Laugh it off.
Hey, don't get mad when you lose at 21. Just roll the dice and go on having fun, and get some humble marijuana, guaranteed to make you fall and laugh it off.
Laugh it off, son.
Laugh it off, son.
Yourself a ticket, second one in 30 days. In the courthouse gate, find records
For the ones already paid.
if you should
Get pneumonia with an everlasting cough. We'll laugh it off. Laugh it off.
Hey,
Don't get mad when you lose at 21.
just roll the dice and go on having fun and get some humble marijuana, guaranteed to make you call and laugh it off. Laugh it off. Yourself a good attorney, take him out and play some golf and laugh it off. Laugh it off. Seems my whole life is patterned after 1963. I could go to a picture show or catch a country jamboree. Now there's people picking on the Opry. I don't know who they're with. There's too much boogie woogie, not enough Connie Smith. The truth about the matter is enough to make you cry. If you don't know what we're talking about, have a good day and say goodbye. Hey, this stuff they're playing on the radio ought to be down at the bottom of the disc. Hey, there's too much boogie woogie, not enough Hank and Chris. I thank God for Marty Stewart every time he's through. Thanks to Willie Nelson, thanks to Emmylou. Hey, we gotta be more demanding down at the corner pub. And there's too much boogie woogie, not enough Ernest Tubb. I'm coming now, Reggie. Stewart, hey, every time he's through. Thank God for Willie Nelson, thanks for Emmylou. We gotta be more demanding down at the corner pub. And there's too much boogie woogie, not enough Ernest Tubb. That's right, too much boogie woogie, not enough Ernest Tubb. Doggone you.
Even though I still sting from the words that you threw at me, there's no pleasure at all from watching you fall to your knees. 'Cause the tables have turned and I'm finally learning to live and forgive and let go. There's no sweet revenge at love's angry end, and we all need to know when the last curtain falls with a final goodbye, and the bitter cold darkness of night floods the days of our lives with the silence so loud we can feel it all. There's no reason or cause to cheer or applaud when the last curtain falls. The irony is that you're wearing the look I once wore, and in truth I've longed for this moment to settle the score. But it's not all that clear now that I'm hearing you echo the thoughts of my soul. The justice of time is not really mine, and I want you to know. When the last curtain falls with a final goodbye, and the bitter cold darkness of night floods the days of our life with a silence so loud we can't feel at all. There's no reason or a cause to cheer or applaud when the last curtain falls. There's no reason or cause to cheer or applaud when the last curtain falls. She looks so good moving across the dance floor, better than the day she left me, arm in arm with somebody new, holding hands and laughing like we used to. I got my best smile on, but it's no disguise. You don't hide the pain in these eyes. I did her so wrong, for so long. Turned my back on her love, now she's long gone. I did my part to break her heart. She walked down on me and tore my world apart. She used to be mine. Whoa, she used to be mine. It's taking every bit of strength that I keep a hurt look off my face. I can't keep from looking back over my shoulder at the lucky man taking my place. Oh, if it weren't for my pride, I'd probably take off running. That's what I'm feeling, it's what I got coming. I did her so wrong for so long. Turned my back on her love, now she's long gone. I did my part, break her heart. She walked down on me and tore my world apart. Used to be mine. Dab down, dab down. Woo! Gave me like a fucking sheep. That motherfucker was drunk. Oh, she used to be. He got some kind of shit up his nose too. Oh, she used to be mine. Used to be mine. God damn, I sure
I sure as hell ruined that song. Take it, baby. It's actually pretty good. Or you can wait till I get home and we'll make one together. It's up to you.
Daddy gave her first pony, and he taught her to ride. She climbed high in that saddle.
Oh, shout out to Haley Marie.
Taught her a lesson that she learned, and maybe a little too well. Cowgirls don't cry. They ride, baby, ride. Lessons in life will show you the time. Soon enough, you're gonna know why. It's gonna hurt every now and then. If you fall, get back on again. Cowgirls don't cry. She grew up and she got married, and never was quite right. She wanted a house, a home, and babies. He started coming home late at night. She didn't let him see it break her heart. She didn't let him see her fall apart. 'Cause cowgirls don't cry. Ride, baby, ride. Lessons in life are gonna show you the time. Soon enough, you're gonna know why. It's gonna hurt every now and then. If you fall, get back on again. Cowgirls don't cry. Phone rings early one morning. Her mama's voice, she'd been crying. Said, it's your daddy, you need to come home. This is it, I think he's dying. She laid the phone down by his head. Last words that he said.
Cowgirl, don't cry. Cry, baby, cry. Lessons of life show us all the time. Too soon, gotta let you know why. If you fall, get a right back up. The good Lord calls everybody home. Cowgirl, don't cry.
Heard you saw her last night at the dive down in Jamestown. Haven't seen her since 4th of July. Did you get a chance to talk? Did she mention me at all? Was she there alone or with some other guy? Well, I'm dying to know, but I'm scared of the truth. So before you say a word, consider what this heart's been through. And in life, don't tell me that she looks amazing. Just why? If she take her by the hand and pick up right where we left off. Well, I know she's moving on, and it's killing me to see. And the words you want to say are strong enough to be the death of me. So lie, don't tell me that she looks amazing. Just lie. If she's with someone else, I just can't take it. Tell me she looks sad and lonely. Tell me she's been missing me like crazy. Yeah, just look me in the eye and lie.
It's a good song. I can't remember who sang it. Maybe Tracy Lord.
The dreams we've shared, I've tried to reach you now, but she don't care. It's pretty clear that I ain't ready to let go. So lie, don't tell me that you looked amazing. Just lie. If she's with someone else, lie. Don't tell me that she looks amazing. Just lie.
It's a nice little SUV right there.
If she's with someone else, I just can't take it. Tell me she looks sad and lonely. Tell me she's been missing me like crazy. Yeah, just look me in the eye and lie.
Ooh, it's pretty windy.
And lie.
Pretty windy. This is the valley right here. This is the Cajon Pass Valley. This is the San Andreas Fault as well. If my old truck was a horse, I'd have to shoot her. Lord, today my ship came in and I was waiting for a train. Every time I get a grip, I always lose it. I can't find the sunshine for the rain. And you know I'm always saying I'm sorry, but you stand by me through it all. Seems every time I make my mark, somebody paints a wall. Every time I think I'm off and running, I'm barely up to a crawl. Every time I get a leg up on the ladder of success, I slip and fall. Like last week down at the factory, I was up for a promotion, but the boss's little brother got the call. Seems every time I make my mark, somebody paints a wall. Every time I get a leg up on the ladder of success, I slip and fall. Like last week down at the factory, I was up for a promotion. Seems every time I make my mark, somebody paints a wall. Seems like every time I make my mark, Somebody always paints a wall. Another great song. Mark Chestnut. I think that was Mark Chestnut. Could have been Tracy Lawrence though.
You stood on that bank when I got baptized. Gave me a 30-30 when I turned 9. At 16 you caught me drinking out in the barn. I could hear you cheering when we won state, and you held my hand at Grandma's grave. And I'll always be thankful you never sold the farm. Grandpa, you stood so tall, chewed that red man wore overalls. You were the same man on Sunday morning as Saturday night. 5'6" to the top of your hat, but when you talked about the world, thought you were Superman. American boy, simple man with a southern drawl. You walk the walk, you talk the talk, Grandpa. You still swear those are bells the best, that a homegrown tomato tastes better than the rest. And 50 years go. This life I've chose is getting busy now, but I know where to go when I need to slow down. And when I walk up, it's just like I'm still young. Grandpa, you stood so tall, chewed that red man wore overalls. You were the same man on Sunday morning as Saturday. Talked about the world, thought you were Superman.
I have no idea why there's fucking traffic right now. Obviously somebody's stupid. Didn't know how to drive or something. I'm trying to pop my ears, I can't. Man, I totally missed the Murdoch trial today. I wonder what happened today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Ole Opry.
Welcome to the Grand Ole Opry.
Racial line for free tonight here, brought to you by Martha Whiteflower. My name is Hank Snow. I'm from Nova Scotia, Canada. I will try my best to tell you that I'm a believer.
What's his name? Murdoch. Something Murdoch. God damn it. Why can't I think of his name right now? His son's name is Paul. What's he go by? Oh, fuck. There it is.
watch this.
Tonight, it's all the Low Country has ever known.
Probably one of the more prominent families in the city.
The Murdoch family dynasty. Decades of enormous power came crumbling down with one phone call.
Going to trial for murdering his wife and his son. But there's like other shit that has been going on over the last few years with this guy that has been revealed over the last few years. It's just like, holy shit. He's facing like 80 fucking charges, like serious charges. And there's people that have died like under strange circumstances on his property, right off of his property. His fucking son was in 2019, I think it was. They were fucking drunk as fuck on a boat, him and his buddies and a couple girls. And one girl, they got in a boat wreck. They fucking ran into a fucking a bridge column, and everybody went flying in, but the one girl never made it up. They never found her till 7 days later. They found her dead in the water. So, the fucking, this guy Murdoch is trying to pretty much, like, when they're interrogating him, he's trying to put it on these people that, you know, may hate his son because his son fucking was the cause of that girl dying. But anyways, let's see what this episode is about. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the full story, not just the two murders, from the beginning, just so that you guys can understand. Maybe you, babe, like especially you, babe, because I know you're like, dang, you've been watching the same thing over and over. It's not the same thing. It's like today there was a whole new trial, or today was a whole new day. But oh yeah, and I need to do a live stream on Facebook to update on Duke Flores, the case on Duke Flores. I gotta do that. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I don't know. But is there an echo? Well, I guess there wasn't an echo because I had to turn my mic off. But anyways.
County 911, what's your emergency?
I need the police to answer immediately.
Tonight, the double murder investigation.
My wife and child are just shot badly.
Exposing years of corruption.
That don't mean that he gets to be killed and nobody gets to find out what happened.
Greed.
Millions of dollars taken from many, many people over a long period of time.
And
like here, I'll just say it because it seems like this is going to just cover the murders. Okay, so after his wife and son got murdered, he made a phone call saying that somebody tried to kill him, and the word is that he hired a hitman to kill him, so that his only living son, Buster, can collect the insurance. Now, this man, Murdoch, he stole millions of dollars from his own firm, his own law firm that, you know, is a very prestigious law firm that goes back to like 100 years. But he stole from their customers as well. And then a housemaid died in his house under strange circumstances because they say that the dog kicked her down the stairs. I mean, if she's a housemaid, then the dog should know her. So why would the dog be jumping up for any reason? Anyways, so that's weird. You know, so much shit.
cover-ups.
When I turned my back, they tried to shoot me.
Secrets that small towns held on to for years, unraveling with twist after twist, each more shocking than the next.
Don't know what else is going to come up.
And it all leads back to one name. Alec Murdaugh.
There's just nothing you can say about Alex Murdaugh. No.
A News Nation special report, The Murdaugh Mystery, starts right now.
And good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Marnie Hughes. Tonight we will take you through a story that is still being written. A tangled web of mystery, murder, lies, and power. And one man at the center of it all. Alec Murdaugh, a disbarred attorney from one of South Carolina's trial that starts tomorrow. We'll have some of the state's most experienced litigators in the land facing off inside the courtroom.
The question a jury will have to answer is, did Alec Murdaugh kill his wife and son? And if he didn't, who did? South Carolina's Low Country, known for its coastal waterways and salt marshes. In the southeast corner of the state, we find Hampton, home to less than 3,000 people, a small community where everyone knows everyone.
We have a watermelon festival once a year, and other than that, we don't do anything.
And everyone knows Alec Murdaugh.
The heir to one of the biggest names in South Carolina.
A family with legal roots dating back as old as the county itself. So much so, it's known by some.
So there's my first problem with this whole thing. How is he getting tried in that same community when his name is known throughout that whole community? Like, trying to get him a fair trial is going to be, this guy is, I don't know. I mean, I understand he got disbarred and he's a disgraced name now, but I mean, here's the thing. If you look at the courtroom, and they might show it, nobody in his family is on the prosecution side. His whole family is behind him, 100%. The jurors are going to notice that. I'm just pointing that out.
As Murdoch County, Randolph Murdaugh Sr. became solicitor, a role similar to a district attorney. He was succeeded by his son, Randolph Buster Murdaugh Jr., in 1940, and then his grandson, Randolph Murdaugh III.
What is the reputation of this family, this dynasty?
Ruthless, obviously not afraid to use the power that they'd amassed.
And then there's Alec.
Didn't have quite the same reputation as some of his predecessors, known to be a little bit lazy.
The patriarch of a picture-perfect family, until...
Hampton 911, where's your emergency?
I need the police to answer immediately.
June 7th, 2021.
My wife and child got badly.
This 911 call made by Alec at 10:07 at night sends first responders to the family's Moselle estate, a 1,700-acre hunting property tucked away in a rural area.
We know that they were together. They were apparently laughing. There was nothing out of the ordinary. However, within 15 minutes, both Maggie and Paul had been brutally murdered.
According to court documents, Alec's wife, Maggie Murdaugh, was shot multiple times with a high-powered rifle, including in the back of the head while she was lying face down on the ground. Their 22-year-old son, Paul, was killed with a shotgun, struck in the head and chest.
He was a person of interest from the very beginning.
The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, or SLED, was tasked with investigating the murders. About that same time, the rest of Alec Murdaugh's world started to unravel with another call to 911.
I got a flat tire, and I stopped, and somebody stopped to help me. And when I turned my back, they tried to shoot me.
The initial report was that a vehicle was passing by, saw Alec Murdaugh changing one of his tires, and took a shot at him.
Alec is taken to the hospital with a superficial gun wound.
We've been at every court hearing. I have yet to see it. Not directly disputing them, but I have not seen any evidence of that head wound.
Days later, another bombshell connected to that roadside 911 call. Authorities say Alec hired a man, Curtis Smith, to kill him in exchange for an insurance payout for his surviving son, Buster.
We called them. They didn't know about Curtis Smith. We called them and gave them the entire story, his identity, his phone numbers, all of it.
Curtis has a different story.
He said if I was going to shoot him, he'd be dead. It's just another one of the crazy components of this Southern Gothic drama that just continues to unfold.
Not only did he not get the insurance money, but he's accused of embezzlement and fraud.
Nearly 100 counts of financial criminal activity, totaling nearly $10 million over the period of about a decade.
Stealing from clients in his legal practice. Alec resigned from the firm. Then days later, a 20-year addiction to opioids was revealed, and he went to rehab. Then on July 2022, more than a year after his wife and son were killed, Alec Murdaugh was arrested and charged with their deaths.
Forensic evidence was really what tied investigators to Alec Murdaugh as the top suspect in these killings. But that evidence has come into question over the last few weeks.
Prosecutors say it took Alec more than an hour to call 911. They point to blood splatter on his clothing.
And some are questioning whether splatter or the article of clothing where it was potentially found has been damaged or even exists anymore.
You know, again, OJ had the glove that didn't fit. Down here in South Carolina, we've got the white shirt that you can't test anymore to see if it's got that evidence on it.
And they claim to have video of him at the crime scene and motive.
Its theory of motive is that Murdaugh committed these two murders to try to buy time for his financial downfall.
Alec has pleaded not guilty. His defense attorneys say there is no DNA.
We're told he's going to flip that narrative and actually tell the jury that they're going to prove Alec Murdaugh didn't do it.
Now it all comes down to a jury and the battle of some of the best legal minds in the state.
I am told from sources that are very close to both the prosecution and the defense that we should expect some surprises. Basically the trial of the century here in South Carolina.
Shining a spotlight on the Low Country once again, and a man named Murdaugh, who's lived a life on the road of power and privilege that may have finally hit a dead end.
If you look at this thing, I've described it often as a multi-layered web of alleged criminality, and it all goes back to Alec Murdaugh at the center of it.
And we are just getting started. Over the course of the next hour, we will untangle part of this web. We're going to take you through the details of 3 other deaths curiously tied back to this family. Joining us tonight is attorney Jana Spilbor. She is a criminal defense attorney and also has worked as a prosecutor. We appreciate you helping us shine a light on this case and better understand exactly what is at stake starting tomorrow with jury selection. The crime scene was grisly, it was gruesome, the double murders. New details about this crime scene have come out just in the last week. What more have we learned about the murders and where they happened?
Well, the one thing that we know is that the murders happened on the property, far away from the main house of the Murdaugh property. But also we know that Alex Murdaugh is claiming that he had an alibi. He was not there at the time that his wife and his youngest son were killed. I think the prosecution is going to try to disprove that premise by saying not only was he nearby, but he was the one who pulled the trigger. Interestingly, not one gun, but 2 different guns were used to commit this crime, which is something that's kind of extraordinary in this case. On the other side of this, his defense attorneys have pretty much signaled that they are going to point the finger of the culprit being not Alex Murdaugh, but instead this his cousin Eddie, as he's known in South Carolina. Instead, the same person who Alex Murdaugh hired to fake his own murder, except that Curtis Smith missed. So this is going to be very interesting. I really think the defense is going to be pointing the finger at this third-party culpability. It's going to make for an interesting defense.
Well, and they'll also be talking about blood spatter and whether or not it was on the shirt that Alec Murdaugh was wearing that night. Why is that so critically important to both sides of the legal argument?
You know, it's very big because on the one hand, the defense is claiming, hey, wait a minute, the shirt is now gone. We did not have an opportunity to forensically test that shirt ourselves, which Alex Murdaugh should have had the right to do. So we can't just go by what the prosecution wants to claim could have put Alex Murdaugh at the scene of the crime. So that's, and we heard in your promo, that is sort of the same as if the glove doesn't fit, right? Because that's a critical piece of evidence. And because it was destroyed or disappeared or never was properly tested, that's going to be big for the defense in this case.
Donna, yes or no, if you were representing Alec Murdaugh, would you put him on the stand to testify?
Absolutely not. No, that's a resounding no. Nobody believes him, first of all. And I think part of the failure of the prosecution here is the defense wants to claim, look, everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion that Alex Murdaugh committed this crime. Therefore, they didn't dive in. They didn't provide enough discovery. They didn't do their own testing sufficiently because everyone thought, hey, it's got to be him. But there's no such thing as a circumstantial hunch. You have to have circumstantial evidence if you don't have direct evidence. And the defense is going to say, not only do they not have it against my client, but we're going to show you that somebody else did this, and we know who.
All right, we shall see. Jonna Spilborn, you'll be back with us later in the hour. Thank you. Coming up, there are more layers to this story, and as you are about to see, Paul and Maggie's deaths are just the tip of the iceberg.
There's 6 of us and 1 is missing.
A haunting boat crash.
It started really back in 2019 is when the wheels started to come off for the Murdaughs.
A death on the family property.
Man, she can't talk. She's cracked her head and there's blood on the concrete.
A teenager found in the middle of the road.
That story has not added up from the very beginning.
3 deaths in 4 years. And the common denominator?
Alec Murdaugh.
Thank you for joining us tonight for a News Nation special report, The Murdaugh Mysteries. Alec Murdaugh is charged in the deaths of his wife and son, but Paul and Maggie's murders are just part of this complicated story. Many point to another case that opened up Pandora's box into Alec Murdaugh and his influence. February 24th, 2019, more than 2 years before Maggie and Paul were killed, the day a teenager with an ever-present smile tragically lost her life. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton joins us tonight live from Walterboro, South Carolina, where the trial will take place with that part of the story. Brian.
Yeah, Marnie, we're outside the Colleton County Courthouse. It's interesting being here and thinking about the fact that the Murdaughs pretty much controlled this courthouse behind me for generations, and now tomorrow Alec Murdaugh will be here for his murder trial. They have had so much power over this community, and it is really highlighted when you go back and you look at what happened with Alec Murdaugh's son Paul when he was arrested in a deadly boat accident, but never even spent one night behind bars.
There's 6 of us and 1 is missing. What, Molly? She's in the water.
Can you see her?
Carnage and chaos.
Okay.
19-year-old Mallory Beach missing after a night on the boat with friends. The recent high school graduate jettisoned from her boyfriend's arms when a 17-foot center console plowed into a piling in Beaufort County, South Carolina.
Tide, wind is always a factor.
More than a dozen first responders and an army of volunteers searched for a week.
Bring in the air assets to help us look in the areas that the boats can't get into.
Prayer chains to find Mallory alive turned to an unbearable wave of grief.
Miss your voice, miss your smile, everything about you worth the while.
The store where she worked and modeled clothing posting a public tribute, but privately, the Murdaugh machine was at work.
A lot of influence across the board. Nothing really happens unless the Murdaugh family
says it happens.
It was the Murdochs' boat, the family's youngest son Paul parking it at a gas pump. He was at the helm, or was he? Friend Connor Cook on board as well that night, and his attorney says it was not long before Alec Murdaugh was telling all 5 survivors to stay quiet on who was captain. What was clear immediately, though, alcohol was in copious use by the underage boaters. The police report saying all were grossly intoxicated, yet no one's blood alcohol levels were checked at the scene.
Same thing if everybody's standing around a car, you don't know who drove it. It's not against the law to be standing around a car intoxicated.
But Mallory's boyfriend, Anthony Cook, is said to have told authorities immediately that Paul Murdaugh was the captain. And Paul left a trail of photos about town, parked at the pump, not for gas. His friends say he used his big brother Buster's ID to buy beer and malted drinks at the store. The 20-year-old raising his purchases triumphantly before they're loaded into his pickup truck. Later, after drinking with parents present at an oyster roast, the group continued boating to dodge known DUI roadside checkpoints. Docking near a bar called Luther's, where Paul and Connor do more drinking. Back in the boat, one friend testifying Paul was belligerently drunk, slapping his girlfriend, spitting in her face, refusing to give up the wheel until the deadly crash.
Please send someone.
No, we're calling, okay?
The Murdaugh family served nearly a century consecutively as the area's solicitor, meaning they prosecuted cases, putting them in close working relationships with officers, deputies, state agents on the case, and others.
They always put on a get-together every year for first responders, police officers, things of that nature.
This family has been powerful and at the center of power and influence there for almost 100 years.
Therefore, I'm going to set a personal recognizance bond.
It would take nearly 2 months for Paul Murdaugh to be criminally charged. Eyebrows raised with his release that same day with a $50,000 bond and surrender of his passport.
Anything to say about that, about why he decided to plead not guilty?
Because he's not guilty.
His former friend Connor cleared at last.
Connor was left to twist in the breeze for nearly 2 months.
Next, the crash bringing an ongoing bevy of civil suits from Mallory's mom, Anthony Connor, and the other young women demanding Alec Murdaugh's financials, the beginning of the unraveling of a low-country Southern dynasty.
So we have to put a spotlight on things like this because it cannot continue.
And so many people who live in this community say that boat crash was just another example of the Murdaughs getting special treatment. There was one woman, Marnie, we spoke to here over the weekend who says after the arrest, after Paul Murdaugh was arrested, just a couple of days later, they saw him out to lunch with his family laughing at a restaurant, and they all just looked at each other, this group of friends, and said, gosh, nothing is ever going to happen to this family. He didn't even spend one night behind bars, Marnie.
And as I understand it, Brian, this case is still playing out in the courts today.
It is. Mallory Beach, the victim, and 3 other of the people who were on the boat, they have settlements that they're supposed to get from the Murdaugh family. They sued civilly. They were supposed to get money from the sale of a Murdaugh property. They still haven't gotten most of that money, though, because it turns out one of Alec Murdaugh's partners from the law firm also says he's entitled to some of that money. It's all so complicated, and all of that still continues to drag on in the courts.
Yeah, the wheels of justice turning slowly, and still so many secrets. Brian, live in Walterboro, South Carolina. Thank you. We'll see you again shortly.
Still to come, yet another death leads back to the Murdaughs. A bombshell from a retired investigator.
Personally, I think there was some type of pressure.
Plus, years of scheming and a money trail that's gone dark.
Where did the money go? I think that's one of the biggest mysteries about this story.
You are watching a News Nation special report, The Murdaugh Mysteries. Disbarred South Carolina attorney Alec Murdaugh is facing life in prison, charged in the deaths of his wife and son. But there is yet another death tied to this family that prosecutors may use as a motive for the murders of Maggie and Paul. It has to do with the Murdaugh family housekeeper, a woman named Gloria Satterfield. News Nation's Brian Enton back with us again tonight. Brian.
Yeah, Marnie, the housekeeper death, it is just another bizarre element to all of this. So many people here said it didn't make sense that she just randomly died falling down the stairs at the Murdaugh property. But it's what Alec Murdaugh did after the death that began to expose his money-making schemes.
Ma'am, she can't talk.
Okay, do you know...
She's cracked her head and there's blood on the concrete and she's bleeding out of her left ear.
According to the Murdaugh family, Gloria Satterfield came by to get her check at the hunting lodge back in 2018. A family dog jumped on her at the top of a flight of stairs, causing her to fall.
I believe she's maybe hit her head and maybe has a concussion or something.
Okay. Do you know what her name is?
Gloria Satterfield.
The 57-year-old later died at the hospital, and the Satterfield family says Alec Murdaugh approached the family after the funeral, suggesting her sons Tony and Brian sue him for insurance money. Satterfield's family thought he was looking out for them, helping them after Gloria worked for the family for more than 20 years.
For her, it was a badge of honor. She considered herself to be part of their family, and she was proud of what she did. She never spoke about her time in the house with her family. She wouldn't reveal those secrets.
The family was to get more than $4 million from her fall, but her boys, Tony and Brian, never saw a cent. What we now know is Murdaugh stole the settlement money.
We got a confession of judgment from Alex Murdaugh for the entire $4.3 million. And that confession of judgment has been a very valuable tool for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. Once we got that confession of judgment, Alex was disbarred the next day.
And that is when Alec Murdaugh's web of lies started to unravel. At the heart of it all, money. Prosecutors say his money scheme started as early as October 2015. It's believed Murdaugh's MO was to defraud victims out of their settlement money. So far, prosecutors say he took $8.5 million, and that number could keep growing. It remains unclear what Murdaugh was using the money for. His lawyers have suggested opioids.
We're really not going to know where that money went to. We do know that based on the charges a couple weeks ago for income tax evasion, Alex made a lot of money from 2010 to 2019, some years $2.5 million.
But time and time again, he diverted money intended for victims, laundering it ultimately for his own use. One of the alleged victims, a state police officer, injured on the job. Murdaugh facing charges in a host of cases, all being moved after the murder trial of Maddie and Paul Murdaugh. The Murdaugh's umbrella insurance policy and family assets will help pay future judgments.
All right, babe, I'm at your dad's, so I'm gonna shut it down.